It is July 24th, 2015, and I'm finally giving you another garden update. So, if you didn't follow along with what happened, I lost most of my garden to some really heavy rain. And if you have, you can see that I've replanted in this outer edge, and I've also built it up almost about a foot. And when I did, I was able to really dig down deeper and get a lot of roots out that I was a little too impatient to do with the first planting. So I'll take you through what I have replanted so far, and we'll start right here. And I have cucumbers that you see are climbing, and I've just used cages for everything except for the ladder, which you'll see in a minute. And I plopped in some okras where I had some space, but the cucumbers look really pretty, and I'm just doing 2 or 3 per cage and just kind of helping them along when they start to grow their tendrils. I just kind of guide them up the cages. There's 2 back there that haven't really taken off yet. And then I have some squash growing, and this is a yellow straight neck. And then in this next big section, where you see 7 cages, there are 7 cages of squash, and only one of them is old enough to have its own cage, and that is just a regular old zucchini. But the rest of them are a mixture of the round zucchini, a dark green zucchini, and I think they should start popping up and doing really well in the next few weeks. And the ladder hasn't moved, and I decided to go for cucumbers again in the ladder, and just like last time, this back side it really loves the way the sun hits it. This back edge is really doing good, and I've eaten a couple cucumbers off of it, but it's just a beautiful cucumber plant, or 3. I didn't plant these all at the same time, so I'm not too worried about how differently they're growing. Like this one right here, I just put in a couple days ago. And now we're moving on. I did a little section of beans, just 2 rows, a row of contender and a row of tender green. I order my seeds from seedsnow.com. It's a non-GMO, all organic heirloom seeds, and they were out of all the other kinds of beans, so they did have contenders and tender greens, so that's what's planted right now. And I figured that would be a nice break for the soil, and also to help out with the things next to it. And finishing off my garden, the much simplified version of my garden, are 4 squash plants. 1 hasn't popped out yet. I just put the seeds in the ground a couple days ago. But these are round zucchini, a regular dark green zucchini, and I think one of them is a yellow squash. I have it all written down. Sometimes I just like to be surprised. And the last little cage is almost like an oval shape. I did 4 cucumber plants, and they're coming along. And I'm thinking once the weather evens out, well, not that that's going to happen, but they'll find their stride. So this is what we have. It's much simpler to take care of, and I'm super excited about it. In the back behind what I have planted again for summer, you'll notice, well, I'm trying out some raised bed ideas, but I've also put newspaper down and different mulch and hay, and I'm slowly building on to cover the rest of the garden, because that is where I'm going to put raised beds and raised beds only from now on. And I'm thinking of using cinder blocks to do big raised beds, but I'm trying to prepare the dirt to put those raised beds in, and I'm trying to stop walking on it too. So now we'll move over to Myrtle's Mater Garden, and I'll show you what's going on over there. And believe it or not, I've actually been eating off of the garden almost every day, whether it be just a cucumber or a tomato or two, or a cucumber, yeah, and peppers. I've still been able to make use of what I was able to save and what I have left. So Myrtle's Mater Garden is not so much maters anymore. I did 4 rows of beans up at the top, and I pulled out the determinate tomatoes that had finally they were still producing a little bit, but not enough to warrant having that much space taken up. So I did some more cucumbers here, and these are Boston pickling. And these are my old pepper plants that have been here since the beginning, which I'm super proud of, the ones that have been here since the beginning. And then I did another little section of beans, and these I planted about 2 weeks after the ones that you just saw. So at this point though, I don't really even care if they all harvest at the same time. I can save them back. I'm wanting to get some things put away in the pantry and salvage what I can for the season. And then at the end of the bed, I still have 1 tomato plant that survived, and I put 3 squash plants, or planted 3 squashes just the other day, so they haven't sprouted yet. But you can't really tell the depth here either, but you can see where, right here is where the edge of the garden was, and I pushed everything up and raised this whole bed. If you think of it as one big bed, I raised it up about 1 foot as well. And now we're moving on to the raised bed, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 okra plants, and they're doing really good. And those are new. These tomato plants are old, and they're kind of broken and hanging over the cages, but they're producing for me. And these eggplants are ones that I pulled up from the other side and just plopped down in this raised bed, and they've just taken off. I haven't gotten any eggplants from them yet, but they're finally starting to bloom a lot. And now if I could just keep the blooms from dropping, we may have some eggplants. And so, and that's an angry cow. So that's my garden update for July 24th, 2015. And it's about to rain again. But that's okay, I just won't have to water. Alright, peace out.